This is a quick little video, hopefully quick, a video explaining the Palworld Custom settings. This is being streamed live from Twitch directly to YouTube. Anyway, let's just get into it. So we're not gonna have any real gameplay here. So for your world settings, when you create you can actually do this. We can create a new world. Let's put something so I know which one it is. So you'll start on like normal, you got hard, casual, different settings. Go to custom and hit custom settings and you have a whole range of different things. So one of the biggest things that people get confused about, let's say they want a shorter nighttime. Let's say you want a shorter daytime. Maybe you need to hunt a lot of nighttime creatures. So one thing people get confused is that they think that, oh, this is going to make it going to the right. It's going to make it longer. That's not. It's going to make it shorter. It's making the day go faster going this way. So if you wanted if you want a normal day but you want a short night, you want that slider to the left, and vice versa. A lot of people will also, what you can do is drop these all the way down so that they're super quick, and that way that actually makes the spawns for a lot of your boss dungeons go quicker. Like you'll actually watch the timer going down really quick. I think an hour respawn is actually like 15 minutes or something instead. Sometimes it's less. XP rate. XP rate's pretty straightforward. This is a standard multiplier, so it starts at like 0.8 here with how I just started a new world. You can max this all the way up to 20. That's pretty straightforward. Makes the game a little bit more fun for me to do that. PAL capture rate, I think everyone wishes this went for more than 2 times. That they need to change that. PAL appearance rate. So most of your gameplay, you should probably just run this at 1. If you want to farm a specific boss, you're high level, you can go this all the way to 3, and this means you could spawn, it'll be 3 times the pals across the board. This makes it easier to find shinies, this makes it easier to fight, or well, not easier, but makes it so that you could fight 3 jet dragons at once. You could fight 2 of the, was it Palladius and Necromus combos, so 6 bosses at once. It's actually overkill for you, even when you are like maxed out and basically cheat with all these other settings. Damage from PAL's multiplier, as far as I understand, this is actually to affect your the damage to your PAL specifically. So I think I dropped that down a little bit. We can actually check my other world here at the very end. Damage to PAL's multiplier, of course, that's its own thing, be able to maximize the amount of damage that PALs receive. I think this is definitely going to be mostly for your PALs. I don't think this necessarily has to do with your player yet. PAL hunger depletion rate, I think everybody wants this to be at 0.1. You can make it go more if you want them to be hungry, if you want to be basically running a farm 24/7, but it just makes it easier. Stamina reduction rate, I've heard like 15 different opinions on this so far. Personally, let's just drop that to nothing. I mean, some people want it to be arc survival and make it so you have to really work on that stamina. You only get 50 levels to do stuff for your points, and you can't really bring the stamina up no matter what you do. I mean, I'm sorry, but you can't. PAL auto health regeneration rate, pretty straightforward. The higher the number, the faster it's going to regenerate. Same thing with the PAL health sleep regeneration rate. You could do whatever you want there. Damage from player multiplier and damage to player multiplier. Pretty obviously, these worked in a way they're supposed to. Damage from player, if you want to be super tanky early on and maybe drop it down once you get really good, or if the game's getting too easy for you, this is a slider you can play with. Who cares about the gatekeepers that say, oh, you should leave it on this or that? Who cares? Play it how you want. It's a game. Damage to player multiplier. This is where some people really bitch. Oh, you can drop this down to 0.1. My first world I played, yeah, dropped it down to 0.1 because I was getting one hit by everything. I mean, we're getting one hit by Cativas. It's like there's a rate of, you gotta have fun with this game too. But whatever works for you, right? Player hunger depletion rate, again, depends on if you want to feed or not. Player stamina reduction rate. So if you put that to 0.1, gonna have a little bit easier time with the stamina. It won't go down as much. Of course, if you go up higher, that's gonna make it take longer. Player auto health regeneration rate, pretty straightforward. The higher it goes, the faster your health is going to regenerate. Same thing with the sleep. It's pretty much just like your PAL regeneration rates. Your next thing here, this is where we start getting to some, I think, more important things. Damage to structure multiplier. I've seen too easily, especially with the higher end game guns. If you leave this at normal, you're at 1, you're going to accidentally blow up something in your base. There's just no ifs, ands, or ups. If you accidentally shoot an arrow, shoot a bullet, you're breaking something. So I personally dropped that down to 0.5. Structure deterioration rate. Now, this is some people don't realize the items that you put out, or like the device, if it's not in your base, this might even affect being in base, but I never tested it. But if you put out a workbench or something, the more you use it, the more it's going to wear down in health. And then if you're away for a while, that structure is going to deteriorate. It's going to break down over time. It's going to start slowly losing health. Unless you're trying to be super tryhardy, survival, whatever, put that to 0. You'll have a lot better time. Max number of dropped items in a world. This has to do with how many, like, if like you're in a base, you're mining or whatever, you have your pals doing stuff. This has to affect with how many like individual dropped items are on the ground. Standard is 3,000. I rarely see anybody change it from there. It doesn't seem to be a problem. It did have a note here before, which I don't see it now. But it used to say like, changing this affects game performance. You can make it so it's more. I've never seen where it was necessary, but you can play with that if you need. Of course, going less means that you might have some stuff despawn before you get to it potentially, but 3,000 objects is in your general vicinity is that's a lot. So, that's standard. Shouldn't have to mess with that. Gatherable items multiplier is your next. This is where it gets kind of like really fun. So you can, if you want to make it resource gathering quick, we're going to actually skip down here to dropped items multiplier. Dropped items multiplier, I almost always max that out because it's stupid to only get one thing of wood every 6-7 seconds of gameplay. Oh yeah, I need 10 wood to build this foundation, and I took a whole minute to make one foundation. No, max that bitch out, who cares? Gatherable objects health multiplier. Dropping this down is going to make it so that you, let's say a ore vein or a rock or whatever, that if you're mining it, how quickly it deteriorates before it breaks down and drops everything. Also seems to affect how much you get per hit, because it's just going to go down quicker. Gatherable objects respawn interval. The lower you go here, the up, but if it's not one way, it's the other. Just easy to check with the, you go to sleep, wake up the next day. If a 24-hour cycle, usually these things are supposed to seem to have a problem with. So 72 hours to hatch. You know how many eggs I get in one run when I do an egg run? I fill the inventory. So easy on everybody. I mean, you can make it whatever you want. You can go all the way down to 0 though. If you go to 0, you put it say, having experimented with it now, it seems like if you get your defensive walls up, you don't really have as much of a chance to deal with a raid. I have a spot where basically there's 2 ways on. They're both blocked off by solid walls, like the stone walls, fortifications. and I actually don't get rated. Up to you. Last couple things here. Death penalty. This is where like you get into the more Ark survival like vibes. So drop all pals and items on team. That's if you really want to go hardcore. Drop all items. Okay, sure, whatever. Drop all items except equipment. I played that the first time. That was alright. I mean, you know, you can just go back and get your stuff. Especially if you're playing single player, it's not a big deal. But it's just, I mean, if you're not trying to play the game like a super survival game, put no drops on. Up to you though. Maximum number of guilds. Being that this game is kind of limited, especially on Xbox right now, it's limited to like 4 people in a server at once. Max number of guilds really doesn't mean shit. They are going to expand it at some point, of course. So there's updates coming. They're working on the game constantly. But think of it this way: if you, the player, or your main player, are in a guild, and then you have 3 other friends join, all of them spawn in a separate guild, basically. Now, if they all join you, you're all in the same guild, that's fine, but if you drop this down to, let's say, 1 guild, here's the problem: nobody else can join your game. You have to be able to have, for however many people you want in the game, you need to have that many slots. I wanted this slider to work in that if you put 1 guild, that meant that everybody else wasn't on a guild or couldn't build a main base, because right now the game's only limited to having 3 PAL boxes. And I already had to delete a world once because some guy took one of them and another guy took another before, you know, and I was trying to make the world as a infrastructure thing so that people could come and just use what resources they need, make whatever, and then go have their fun. Instead, they wanted to use it and then try to do the same damn thing when none of them knew what they were doing. Problem with playing with randoms online right now with this game. Anyway, make that, you know, however many people you might think you want in. I put it at 8 on my main server, just because I expect it to expand, but I don't want that many people on it. And then the last one, so the last setting here, Max Pal's working at base, is pretty straightforward. This was not available day 1, so it was added, I think, 3 days in on Xbox, and you can actually bump it up to 20. And so that way you can have up to 20. Of course, you still have to rank up your base to where you can have 20 pals at the base, but there you go. Anyway, that is the full settings. Of course, if you have any questions or have any issues or anything like that, by all means leave a comment below. Let me know what your problems are. Let me know if you have any corrections or anything like that. This is just what I've found from my working and all that. Again, I only play on really kind of fixed settings. Matter of fact, if we go to, because it didn't save my new world I was creating, if we go here just to show you the current server settings that I've got running, this is how I'm running my game right now. It's fun. I'm not overpowered, but I'm not easily killed. I can tell you at level 48, I think I'm at 48 right now, I still can get killed by your level 45, level 40 bosses. So it's not like you're some god tier person, but at the same time, it's not going to give you that super survival struggle vibe. Anyway, that is your world settings and custom settings explained for the game Palworld. Thank you for watching.